When it comes to the dating market, I do see a decline coming. I see it as inevitable. I don't think is going to get worse or less pervasive. I don't think, and in fact, Ray Kurzweil talks about like men having sex with robots in the future and not needing women at all. I do see a decline coming, but in the interim, myself and at least probably my children's generation, I think would have an easier time getting in that top 10 or 20% of men than at any point in history.
Yes.
Meaning like requires exceptionalism to get in the top 10%, but probably the least amount of exceptionalism that you've ever had. I'm just in shape and I don't listen to Disney. I read more than 5 books a year, below 14% body fat. I make over $100,000 a year, and I have masculine boundaries when it comes to my dating life. I think you're already in the top 10%. I see it both ways. From a socioeconomic standpoint, I do see a decline when it comes to dating. 6 in 1,000 women want to get married, a decline in the birth rate, 56% divorce rate, etc. Those things increasing. The bottom quartile of men having no sexual options, I believe that's going to grow to a third and then maybe a half. I think that's where we're headed in that direction. But at the same time, I do think that if you're just one of those people who's willing to unplug from, the matrix, and I don't mean the matrix in the way that like everybody in the red pill is saying, but like unplug from this traditional way of thinking or the way of thinking that's being taught to you by major media outlets and big tech, etc. I just think if you just don't listen to them, you can put yourself in the top 20%.
Right, but here's my question: are women's standards objective or subjective?
Women's standards would be subjective, but the thing is, I think because as men we have this ability to make them laugh, and then they want to sleep with us, whereas they can't do the same with us because we have, like, for instance, for women on offense, it's just they're throwing it up to Calvin Johnson every time, and he's just catching touchdowns. But for us, we've got 5 receivers, backs and receivers we can get the ball to. They're just not as good as Calvin Johnson. Meaning, like, we have several different ways to score. We can be good looking and tall and rich, but we can also be super funny, have incredible social alignments, and show pre-selection. So we have way more plays that we can run, whereas girl is just can touchdown play, I'm really hot. And so because of that, I think whereas their standards may be subjective, their standards can be, I don't want to say manipulated, but taking them into a familiar environment. There's just so many ways that
tactics and strategies.
There's so many more tactics and strategies that men have than women have. And if they can figure out which one works for them, again, the short, fat dude who is really great with a guitar and becomes a famous guitar player, like Jelly Roll, like, you know what I'm saying? He's fucking hot girl. That dude up in Tennessee, or Florida, whatever. He's fucking all these hot girls, his face covered in tattoos. He's overweight. With men, there's ways to overcome almost anything.
Right.
Well, for women, maybe not so much.
Right. But I think with the kind of the general advice there of, because it's been around, like you see like, okay, what does it take to be a top 10% Zoomer male? Well, not living at home, not being fat, you're in the top 35%.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't think that's going to be enough. You can't just be not fat, you got a job, and you don't live at home. That's still, like, I have objective standards of women where I'm like, there's got to be a personality, but you have to meet these. I don't care what the other women are doing. I can't get it up for you just because you're the top 20%, but the rest of the 75 is so bad that makes you the top 25%. So I wouldn't just like, go for a walk and don't get too fat and have a job. No, you guys, well, here's another thing about efficiency. It's called Bizarro World, or where the laws of physics switch. I even did a video called Don't Go to College, Go to the Gym if you want to get girls. Look, if you go and become a top 5% guy, you don't have to deal with half the shit.
Yeah.
You still have to be charming and charismatic. Yes, it's certainly every advantage to, learn to dance, become a guitar player, going into environments. Those should all be there. But if you can just get below 14% body fat, work out, dress nice, which I'm not a big fan of, but all that. Put in the extra effort to become a top 5% guy. The women will do the work for you.
Yes.
And you save way more time than you spend at the gym or dieting or whatever. And dieting doesn't take time. It's just not eating what you want. Yes, it doesn't take that much today to become a top 20%. I don't think the top 20% zillennial is still going to attract a woman.
I see what you're saying. They still have to do certain things that are exceptional.
Right.
I agree with you. I just think if you can, one of the things that you can do is that exceptionals have really good social alignments. Like, it's very beneficial. For me, if a girl comes into town and I'm like, who's your favorite DJ? And she's like, oh yeah, I love Tiesto. I was like, all right, I'll take you on stage. And it's just like effortless. The date just goes real well, Aaron. Like, it's just like, it's a real easy date.
I bet you she doesn't flake out at the last minute.
She shows up on time. She's very excited to hang out. And I'm the first person she calls whenever she comes back to Vegas. So you have a statement, why all men must accept the reality of women. A lot of times when I talk to guys, when I meet them, there's a deserve. This actually goes back to the IQ thing. I have a lot of clients, and these clients have super high IQs. They're engineers, doctors, whatever, and they believe, and they see the guys who are doing well with women, and they're usually dumber than the guys we're talking about, my clients. Right. And in their mind, they're like, because of my intellect, I deserve. Can't you see I'm better than this dumb idiot that you're with?
Secret kings type of thing.
And they're frustrated because their intellect isn't buying them sex like they thought that it should. Right. Mm-hmm. And then they get into a separate trap, which is their intellect does get them money, and then they use money to get sex, which is another trap. Right. It's a separate trap. I think what's happened is they don't understand the reality of women. Like, you don't deserve, there's not a punch card thing you get, and at the end you get sex.
Yeah, like fuel rations. Or something
fuel rations for sex.
Yeah.
I've done enough good things for you. Look at how many times I took out the trash. Now it's time. Punch card. Now it's time for the sex. Right. It doesn't work like that, right? So the thing is, the reality of women, understanding, like, say, attraction is not a choice. In general, it's so funny. Have you ever used any AI chatbots to try to talk about like red pill stuff? And they do not accept your narrative.
Really?
It's so crazy. So we tried to use an AI chatbot for Men of Action, and it was just crazy. Like, the stuff they were saying, I was like, I would never say that. Like, what is this fucking nonsense that they're talking about? Like, for instance, I can give an example. You know as well as I do that women will say, I like a man to do X, but what they mean is, I like a man who I'm attracted to do X. Yeah. But they don't say that. So if I were to say, do women sometimes say they're attracted to certain things and they're actually show that they're attracted to other things? The answer would be yes. Try to get ChatGPT to say that. Watch what happens.
Okay.
Because what you're doing is, like, you're basically holding women accountable, so you can't do that. So going back to what you said before is like, and by the way, that's not offensive what I said. Most women will admit that what I'm saying there is true. Why all men must accept the reality of women? Can you go into that?
You must accept reality in all instances. Girls who major in dumb crap end up being poor and financially destitute. It's a fact. You have to go to the gym to become physically attractive for a girl to want to have sex with you. That's a fact. I have to stop eating good steak and tasty bacon because I'll get a heart attack. My cholesterol keeps. I don't like that fact, but I know I got to do it. And whether I do it or not is another issue. The best thing anyone could do in any regard is to accurately diagnose what reality is, because then you can actually build a plan and a strategy to succeed in that. You need to get out of poverty. Don't have kids you can't afford. Don't major in dumb stuff. Spend less than you make. Save your money. It's boring. You don't want to hear it, but that's how you do it. And so men have to realize, look, that's great. You've ended majoring and becoming a surgeon. That's great. It is going to help you. That's better than not being a surgeon. Right? But you still need to be physically attractive to the opposite sex. And that's step one. And this is where I get, like, you'll go to med school for whatever it is, 13 years. I don't know how long you go. You go to med school a long time. You graduate when you're 73. You practice for 2 years. I don't know how it works. But you won't go to the gym? You won't set down the food? You put all this effort into it. And if that's the case, then go pay for it, which I'm not against. I'm not against.
You know, this reminds me of, I had Corey Yee on, and she was like, I'll talk to girls, and they'll go out to clubs, and they'll fuck dudes for money, and they come to me, and they're like, I would never have an OnlyFans. And she's like, you'll fuck guys for money, but you won't have an OnlyFans? You'll make more money on OnlyFans.
And
like,
safer too.
It's safer. It's like, I'm not a proponent of OnlyFans, but in comparison to fucking strange men for money, I think I would be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so in the current day that we're having this conversation about the sexes, I think women are the ones deserving of most of the criticism, constructive criticism, but they're the ones that are in error and screwing up way more. However, men have got to realize that bullshit your teachers and your mom taught you about, well, just be a nice guy and work really hard and go to college. That doesn't work. And you could get upset that whatever, the football player went home with the prom queen or the frat boys. You need to look at what women are doing and what they're responding to and who they're sleeping at, and realize that's what they want.
Yeah.
Like, you ever hear of Blippi? You know Blippi? Okay, so I thought you would have heard. He's like a local celebrity here. Well, he's a national celebrity. He is he's a guy probably just like you and me. And for whatever reason, he became the sensation among little kids. He dresses up like a plumber in orange and blue, big glasses, and he teaches them kids, kind of like Mr. Rogers of today, all right? My nieces love Blippi. Uncle Aaron, are you going to Vegas? Yes, I'm going. Are you going to see Blippi? I'm like, well, I don't really know the guy. I mean, he's somewhere in Vegas, I'm sure. I wouldn't recognize him because he's not on. And I watched Blippi with my little nieces. I'm like, what the hell do they see in this guy? Well, I'm wrong, and what's got to be 20 million little 10 and youngers are right, because this guy sells out he'll go and tour, and he sells out.
Of course.
And why do they like Blippi? I don't know, but they like Blippi.
Yeah.
Why does the girl you want to bang want to sleep with the moronic douchebag MBA, 102 IQ? I don't know, but they do. So figure out what that guy, and usually 9 out of 10 times, he's taller, better looking, and stronger than you. And that's usually, and he's probably also a little bit of a douche. He's not pining. Like the guys you're talking about, usually they've achieved everything else in life, so the one missing key that fires up the machine would be a woman. So they're like, oh my God, I'm like, dude, no, that guy, they can hang out with him and know he ain't going to stalk them.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of, like, there's no pressure. So I think that's what these guys got to realize. Little kids like Blippi, girls like party dude frat boys, at least for a while, and that's where you got to go. That's what you have to deliver to them.
Do you ever look at it from the lens of evolution, like women doing the things that they do because ancestral environment, had they not chosen the right man or monkey branch to a better man, then they and their child would die.
Right.
And if their mate was killed, because men were often in every society more replaceable than women, they needed to pick another mate. So their ability to get over a breakup or move on to a new mate would be easier. But from our standpoint in a modern society, that's very cruel, right? She just replaced us. She just found someone better than us. But I try to look at it from an evolutionary standpoint. So when you talk about the blame, it's like one of these things where it's like, I think it's easier to not hate people when you understand like how their genetics, play a part in it.
Well, it's very simple. I don't think it's anything complicated at all. Bigger, stronger men could protect you more.
Yeah.
Full stop. Before the Industrial Revolution, that's what you want. The guy could farm more. The guy could hunt more. The guy could fight off invaders more. And fine, post-Industrial Revolution, yes, the surgeon makes more, computer programmer makes more. That doesn't undo the 800 years of evolution that came before that. So I don't know. I like girls with big tits and long hair. You can't force me to like the pixie cut and little mosquito bites. It's not malicious. I don't hate girls with short hair. And
we don't hate you guys. We don't hate you.
I just like, you put a redhead with tig old bitties in front of me. I'm like, I'm going with the redhead. So it's genetic. But that's the reality. You have to play to that.
Yeah.
So.